Hi, this is Welcome to Self, and I'm your host, Dr. Hayley D. Quinn, the anti-burnout business coach. I'm a speaker, author, former clinical psychologist, and late identified ADHDer. Welcome to Self is a podcast for business owners like you who want success, but not at the cost of your well-being. This is about transforming self and transforming business. I'll be here to remind you that you're human first, and as well as being a business owner, you have different roles in your life that need your attention. And to manage those well, you need to take care of yourself in the best way possible. Here you'll learn about practices that will help you navigate not just your business, but your non-work life as well. And you'll realise that you're not alone in the ways you struggle. You'll have your curiosity piqued on various topics as I chat with wonderful guests and bring you solo bite-sized episodes. I'm here for service-based business owners and entrepreneurs like you to help you increase your self-care and compassion, change your relationship with yourself and your business, and elevate your business to a new level so you can live the full and meaningful life you desire. This is a place of nourishment, growth, and helpful information. A place where you can learn ways to assist you and your business to thrive. We'll talk all things mindset, strategy, and well-being, and I'm so excited you're here. If you haven't already, go and hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. So let's get started. Hi, and welcome to another episode. This week is another solo bite-sized episode, so nice and short to fit into your day. Before we get into this episode, if you are approaching midlife or you're a midlife or later aged woman and you haven't tuned in to my episode with Kirsten Baus, I highly recommend that you do. It was great having a chat with her. We talk all things perimenopause, menopause, and everything that goes with that, as well as how we manage that when running a business. So highly recommend you go listen to that one. So for today, I want you to think about, what if your business was a person? Sounds a bit weird? Bear with me. I was having a chat with a coaching client the other day, and like with all my coaching clients, we focus very much on your own well-being. And what are some of the things that we do to focus in on our well-being? Well, we make sure that we check in regularly. We read the internal data of what's going on for ourselves so that we can know what it is that we need, and we can then think about how we can best take care of ourselves. And my client was wanting to look at how she can improve some things in her business. And we were talking about the importance of knowing your numbers and knowing the data that is in your business. And for many of us, we don't go into business to start looking at spreadsheets or understanding finances or wondering how the algorithm works. And let's be honest, it's actually not very appealing, and lots of us don't want to do it. The thing is, it's really important to do it because that's the internal data for your business. And just like for ourselves, if we're not checking in with the business and actually seeing what's going on, what's working well in the business, what isn't working well in the business, what does our business need, then it's really hard to make decisions that are going to be beneficial in the long run. So my invitation to you is to spend some time this week taking a look at some of the data points in your business. Now, this is going to be different for everybody, but there may be some things that are similar for us all. And that's going to be things like what's happening with our marketing. Perhaps you have an email list and you want to be checking the open rates and the click-through rates on your emails. Having a think about what are the most popular emails that are being opened. Or perhaps like me, you've got a podcast and you want to look at which are the episodes that are the most popular. And not just the downloads, but the ones where people are actually listening for longer. You might want to look at your bank account your business bank account. And whilst you're at it, you might want to look at your personal bank account and look at where your expenses are, perhaps where some overspending is happening, things that you could perhaps cut back, or maybe even somewhere that you actually need to spend some money in your business. Perhaps you've been putting off spending some money in your business, but if you were to do that thing, it's actually going to give you a good return on investment and it's going to be a wise decision. So we ended up talking about, what if you gave your business a name? You kind of personified your business and you treated your business as if it were a person you cared for. It might sound strange, but it really shifts the way you think about stuff. We're less likely to neglect something we care about than we are if we just think about it as, oh, that's okay, it's just that background stuff, it's not that important. Although I kind of know it is important, I just don't really want to do it. So think about for yourself, how do you feel about your business? Is it something you're enjoying? Do you enjoy spending time with your business? If it were a person, would you spend time with it? And what would you do? It can feel a bit quirky, it can feel a bit different. But I think sometimes when we step outside of the norm, we step outside of the box and we start to think about things in a different way, it can really shift our perspective and it can really shift how we want to do things. And it can make things more fun. And at the end of the day, we didn't go into business to not enjoy ourselves. Yeah. I don't think any of you went into business to be unhappy with what you were doing. So think about it. Think about your business. You may want to give her a name. And think about, what are the 3 top things that you need to go and have a look at in terms of the data that's coming into your business at the moment. I know for me, I like to set up an Excel spreadsheet and do a regular review of the different numbers in my business, pop it in the sheet, because then as I do that week in, week out, and you might want to do that fortnightly, you might want to do it monthly, I just want you to do it in a way that's sustainable for you. So I like to pop it in the Excel spreadsheet because then it gives me data to look back on as well. I'm not just checking in with what's happening currently, I'm checking in historically as well. And it allows me to see patterns that might be emerging on things that are working, things that are not working, and also whether I've tried something for long enough. Because oftentimes, and I found this when I worked as a psychologist as well, oftentimes we can find ourselves saying, yeah, I tried that, but it didn't work. But what I want you to think about is, how often did you try it? How long did you try it for? Did you give it enough time for it to work? Because nothing happens overnight. When we're in business, we have to remember we're playing the long game. Yeah, you're not in business for the next few weeks. You're most likely in business for the next few years, and for some of you, perhaps the next few decades. So it doesn't all have to happen overnight, but we need to have things in place that we can track, that we can pay attention to, that we can tune into, so we know what's happening and we know what would be the next best step. Just like when we're taking care of ourselves, we have to regularly check in, and sometimes that might be keeping notes of what's happening for you as well. Or like me, I wear a wearable and that helps me track my health data. So I can refer back, I can see patterns, I can look at where I need to make changes. So I'm going to leave that with you for today. If you haven't already, go to the show notes and go and download my free downloadable, Reclaim Your Time and Energy, 6 Boundaries for Women in Business. And I hope that's really helpful for you. I hope today's short and sweet episode has also been helpful, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks for sharing this time with me today. I hope it's been helpful and supportive. If there's been something in this episode that you have found helpful, I encourage you to share it with your business besties so they can benefit too. Shares, ratings and reviews really help to increase awareness and reach of the podcast. meaning more people can benefit from the information. I really appreciate you taking the time. If you'd like to know about the ways we can work together, check out my website at drhayleydquinn.com. I'll pop the link in the show notes, and you can also join my mailing list from there and be kept up to date with all that is happening. I do need to say, because legal stuff, this podcast is solely for the purpose of education and entertainment. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for individual advice or advice of health professionals or other qualified professionals. Okay, now we've got that formal stuff out of the way. I love hearing from listeners, so don't be shy. Reach out and let me know your thoughts on the episode or what else you'd like to hear about. I wish you well in your relationship with yourself and your business, and may you go well and go gently. And remember, if you thrive, your business will too.